Hey guys, this is 012 Boku coming at you with another movie review yet again, and I'm here to tell you we have moved on to the next part of the action series. Sounds great, don't it? At least I hope it does for you guys. Hope you guys have been enjoying these videos. But we are on Boom! Die Hard. Oh yeah, Die Hard. Probably one of the best action movies ever. I don't know if it's but I'm gonna say the series is I hold in pretty high regard. I will say the first three of these movies are very well received, and of course, sorry, one of the best trilogies and or series of all time. Like I said, at least the first three. The last two were good, but oh yeah. I mean, we'll get to that. We'll get to the parts of it. And oh, I completely forgot. While I do that, but I will get into it with you guys. Because Die Hard is a personal favorite. As you saw there, I had the 5-star collection released when I think when DVDs were still on to come out, because I know they started showing up around 96, 95. They were relatively new. Let's see, when did it say this DVD was printed? 2001. So yeah, still pretty new within the DVD era. And ironically, as you see there, 2001, this trilogy was manufactured in 2001, the DVD collection, but the 5-star collection series and Fox collections and everything else that they did, those were halted because of the terrorist attacks of 2001, and that sucks that had to happen, but I understand it, and hey, and yeah, if you guys are wondering what I'm doing, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm getting my Rotten Tomatoes stuff ready, trademark, because I have not been able to get back to it. So, hey. Oh, jeez. Yeah, continue to the friggin' ads. I did! You stupid jerks! Oh my god, what the heck is this? I will take the friggin' ads. Thank you. Continue to the site. Oh my god. Hold on, guys. You're getting a little bit of a Fisher course, because, oh yeah, gotta have that. Continue without disabling. I'll probably edit all this out, but I'll tell you right now, I'll start it here. If you're wondering why there was a weird little thing there, that's because stupidly, Rotten Tomatoes, they want ads. Support us. Yeah, support you guys. You're probably all in with the liberals and all the other part of Hollywood. Ha! But other than that, hey, see here. Die Hard, dear God, Kevin Hart. Okay, I don't know why we have all these weird things here, but alright, okie doke. And hey, and alright, well, I have it, so There we go. And let's see, this movie, Die Hard, it has a movie that's close to my heart. It is a great action movie. One that I'm glad I saw as a kid growing up. I saw a lot of these movies on TV. Yes, they were highly edited at the time with my folks, and I got to experience a lot of great things because of this movie. And it's one of the great action films. It's one of the films that really launched Bruce Willis's career very well, which it really did. I mean, he did have a bit of a career doing TV and other things, but this movie really launched himself really well, and as well as many others, and we'll get into it. Because Die Hard being an action movie about a cop who goes to Los Angeles to see his um, estranged wife, gets caught up in this money scheme terrorist plot, and everything just goes from there. And Die Hard stars Bruce Willis, of course. We all pretty much should know who Bruce Willis is. I mean, the guy is a household name in Hollywood, and I think one of the last few good actors left. I'm really glad he's stayed out of the political arena for the most part, and kept kept quiet on a lot of the things of today, because personally, you learn about a lot of your favorite actors you grow up idolizing, and you realize how 90% of them are douchebags. Cheers, most of you. But other than that, Bruce Willis got his start on this, and he plays Lieutenant. I don't think he was a detective, but New York cop named Lieutenant John McClane. And, he shows up in Los Angeles, isn't one for Los Angeles. He thinks and this is at the time, this was, double check here, I think this was let's see here, 1988, oh yeah, there it is right there. Yeah, 1988 this movie was made, and he doesn't like Los Angeles. He thinks it's too free, a little too open. It's not rugged enough for him. He knows New York. He knows the streets of New York, the city, how everything's done. And this was during the time where, Los Angeles was probably way better with things than they are now. I mean, holy hell, there's a scene where we have, he isn't listed in the main cast on the cover here, but we have Reginald Val Johnson, who you guys probably know from Family Members, who plays Al, who's a cop who helps John McClane throughout this film. When he comes out of a convenience store on Christmas or Christmas Eve, where he's buying Twinkies, he comes out and you see they always mention this in movie trivia for Die Hard. This is the last time in Los Angeles, and I think they even mentioned it on the audio commentary in this movie too. The last time in Los Angeles where you saw gas I think for 74 cents a gallon. And I mean, yeah, you listen to that and it's like, holy crap. That is cheap. And I mean, at least I think it was 74 cents, and maybe it would even be 97 cents. But yeah, when have you ever seen gas that cheap in any of our current lifetimes? Yep, not recently. No. So that was something else too. But with John McClane, he's not used to a lot of this. Goes to see his wife. He's doing it for his family, maybe patching stuff up with his wife, and obviously see his kids because he loves his kids. And he promised he'd go to his wife's party. Gets into a limo with a guy named Argyle. Has a pretty nice talking time with Argyle. They sort of started off a little bad, but then they develop this respect with each other and like a bit of a friendship. John gets there and he and his wife, they're having Holly McQueen or Gennaro, if she's going by. Oh man. Like I used to say, and I mean I'll say again, we're on off the cup, guys. Gotta blow my nose. Allergies have been affecting me again. I apologize. And and there's actually a thing where I think at this party before stuff starts going down, where he and his wife Holly, they have a little talk and a bit of a disagreement again about things. But like John McClane is going to try to make it work. He really wants to have a good time, hopefully with his family, and not have any bad stuff go on. But as you know, the terrorists, Hans Gruber and his whole team, enter the building to rob the place blind or to do these weird demands. And, John McClane, without any of his shoes and just in a tank top and in his pants, he goes and, he goes and he crawls through the vents to get away, and then that's where the adventure begins, where he's crawling through the vents, taking out guys one by one. He gets a walkie-talkie from one of the villains, and he's like listening in to Hans Gruber and everybody else's conversations. He's hearing what they're saying, trying to get other cops' attention. Nobody's listening to him, so that's pissing him off. These villains are pissing him off. He's not afraid. What I love about this movie is he knows this isn't a time for police protocol. And in all of these movies he's in, he's never in proper things with his police protocol, because he's usually dealing with a high-end criminal and or terrorist. And, it's like when you're not in these situations, you got to defend yourself, you got to live, you got to survive, you have to kill people. So I love how he doesn't fully hesitate, or he doesn't do things. He does give people a chance to surrender, defend themselves, and not do anything stupid. But the guys, fight back, so he does what he has to do, and he, takes people out. John McClane has got great wit, great humor, very good dry sense of humor. He's very sarcastic and odd with the villains, which is what I love. He plays around with the guy. He's not your conventional, haha, Superman type hero. He's basically just he's laid back. He's not afraid to get dirty. He will do what he has to do to save everybody or save the people he cares about. And that's what I love about him. He was, very quintessential in just being in all these tough spots, and having to do what he has to do. In fact, on Rotten Tomatoes, I think it has the national theatrical trailer, and people always have the part where he's crawling through the vents and he lights the lighter and he's like, come to Los Angeles, we get together, have a few laughs. It's like he does it sarcastically, because it's like, man, I wish I sort of never showed, but this is the situation I'm in. So, John McClane is really, really awesome of a character. Plus, there's a part where he and Hans Gruber are talking via walkie-talkie when more is being revealed about both. And Hans Gruber literally asks, John McClane, who calls himself, I think he calls himself Roy forget if it's Roy Rogers. Yeah, I think it's Roy Rogers. I can't remember. It's either, I know it's not Roy Orbison, because I know Roy Orbison has to be the singer, but I think it's Roy Rogers. But he says, who do you think you are, John Wayne or Grace Kelly? He's like, well, actually, I was very partial to Roy Rogers. And he's like, you don't expect to believe you'll win, do you? And once again, I don't say this to piss off kids if they're watching, but remember, I do make these things for older people and adults. But he says his classic line as he gets in the elevator and slips away, or I think down the stairs right away, he goes, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. And it's like that becomes a tagline throughout all the rest of these films, because the yippee-ki-yay motherfucker is just his whole thing. it's actually a very good quote that sticks, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger's "I'll be back," and it works so well. And Bruce Willis is John McClane. At this point in the game, if they were ever to redo the movie, I don't think any of the new actors today would capture that same magic that Bruce Willis gave us for John McClane. John McClane here, yeah, Bruce Willis there. Or Bruce Willis is John McClane, is probably the guy who is this character, is going to be this character, and is synonymous and huge through history of cinema and whatever you remember during the time of 1988 or growing up at this time as a kid, wherever you were, whatever you were doing, you know that this man will be the only one to really be that character. Because I think about it now, and I can't see anybody having that same impact that he did. I mean, Bruce Willis is the man. He is John McClane. I mean, his wit and how he did this character and toughness and having to think to get out of situations, because everybody says a lot of these 80s actors and people like that, they're unstoppable, Rambo and all these guys are unstoppable, and it's like they have that ability to seem like they're unstoppable, but they do get hurt, they do go through pain, they do go through judgments. The one time where, the one movie, which I don't own it yet, I want to because it's so ridiculous that it is that does focus on that, is Arnold Schwarzenegger's Commando. But like I said, Commando is so balls to the wall off the rail where he's almost unstoppable that it's hilarious because it's like, yeah, a whole army can't stop this one guy. It's not like 20 or 15 people. You have a whole army of people coming after Arnold Schwarzenegger in that one. And nobody can flip and stop him. So it's friggin' great. But that's Commando. Die Hard is not Commando. Commando is still a good movie, but it's not Die Hard. And then also we have, he's not featured anywhere on here, so I can't show you guys what he looked like at the time, but anyone who has seen this movie should know, and I'll tell you about him. Either way, is Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman, which I never knew this was, because he was a stage actor before this. I'm going to say for the Royal Shakespeare Company, because I think Alan Rickman was a Shakespearean actor, and he played Hans Gruber, and Hans Gruber was his first film, and I think for him playing Hans Gruber, I think John McTiernan said he was already like 41 or 42 when he did this movie, so he was already in his 40s. When you're in your 40s, you're still young, but when you're in your 40s, you're already thinking about your 50s and whatnot, so I guess that makes sense, but still, for him being 41, he looked good at the time, he still looked very young, and he was great as Hans Gruber, and I had no idea this was his first feature-length film in movies for either Britain, Hollywood, or anything. I thought he did a whole bunch of movies before this, but no, Die Hard was apparently his first film, and he plays, again, sorry guys, he plays Hans Gruber, where Hans Gruber is the leader of these terrorists that, they come in and they take out security at Nakatomi Plaza, they go into the party, they start, shooting up the place a little bit, grabbing people, making sure everybody's there, and he wants to talk to Mr. Katagi, the guy who, built and owns Nakatomi Plaza, and I forget what they call Takagi's company. Takagi's company is called something, I forget the name of it, but they want access to his stuff, and Takagi thinks that they're terrorists and they're trying to hold them for ransom or get something from him, but Hans Gruber basically says, no, I just want the combination to your vault, and you have a nice suit, I have about 4 myself, or of your suit myself, or, hey, you're a nice guy. I don't want to do this to you, but hey, I'll kill you if you don't give me what I want. And, like, for instance, when he's finally talking with Takagi, he basically goes over a little bit of it, more of his business acumen. He talks about how much they get in money and they make for the company, and he tells Takagi that we want the combination to your vault. And Takagi sort of side glances this and says, "Wait, you want money? This is what this is about, money?" Oh wait, yeah. Takagi finds that out because he's searching his computer and it brings up the vault codes, and basically, he's like, "Wait, this is about money? You guys want money? What kind of terrorists are you?" And Hans Gruber, Alan Rickman just goes, "Mr. Takagi, who said we were terrorists?" And, he's like laughing it off because they're doing acts of terrorism, but they don't consider themselves terrorists. So it really was, as John McTiernan was going for, to give terrorism sort of a laid back and fun background to make sure it wasn't complete thuggery, but also to know that these villains have a style, they have an edge to them that we can relate to them. We don't want to relate to them fully, but we want to relate to them just a little bit, so maybe we can have a little fun with these guys. And as Takagi goes, Takagi tells them, I don't know the combination to the vault, and he's starting to sweat. Takagi's getting all nervous. And Alan Rickman just looking like this, stone cold, just staring, raises his gun. And as he's about to point, he says, Takagi goes, I don't know the combination to the vault. You're just going to have to kill me. And, Hans Gruber just goes, okay, then. Bam, and he basically, and this is not an exaggeration because you see the blood splatter. You don't see the full head shooting, but you see the blood splatter on the window from John McClane's point of view. But he basically blows Mr. Takagi's brains out, and he's like, okay, we'll do it the hard way. And he has his engineer man. Lawrence Gilliard Jr., who plays Theo, I think, tried to break into the vault and get what he needs. And they also have detonators because they want the FBI involved and the cops involved, because what they're going to try to do is get Takagi's money and bearer bonds and funds, and they want to blow up the building with the hostages, killing the hostages, but believing that there was a freak accident with the FBI or the cops or something that they were doing themselves wrong. So it looked like that they, would commit suicide and get away with the money. So that's why they also have bombs with them, because they wanted to fake their deaths so they can get away scot-free with the money that they want to have. And when John McClane starts doing his thing, what I love about Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber is he's trying to assess situations. He's always thinking. He's always using his his dry wit and manners to stay funny, but also to stay because Hans Gruber has some comedic moments in the film. I'm not gonna lie, the guy is detestable, but you laugh at him because just how he handles certain situations, and just dryly, it's. You can get a laugh out of it, but it's sort of it's not like how John McClane, haha. It's you get chuckles or nervous laughs out of the guy. And it's because this guy is evil and he's a villain, but at the same time, the way he just goes about situations, it's wow, you don't expect that. And it's just played so well by Alan Rickman, and there's, parts of the film where he runs into John McClane, and they have an interaction, and I guess in many ways, John McTiernan said, he wasn't even happy with it. Alan Rickman tries to give a Western Southern accent where he's like Bill Clay. He's like, are you one of the terrorists? No, please don't kill me. Oh God, don't kill me. Oh God, and I don't want to say that Alan Rickman was wholly bad, but I do agree with John McTiernan. You can tell he had to really try to get that accent down. Like there's a person who plays his brother in Die Hard with a Vengeance, Simon Gruber, played by uh, Jeremy Irons, who is also British and trying to also be German, but Jeremy Irons, like it's hammy, but his Southern accent is way more classy. And let me just say, one of the things that makes it hammy, holy Toledo, somebody had fun. That's one of the lines he gives. Jeremy Irons and Simon Gruber, but Alan Rickman did it the best he could. He was okay. I'm not going to say it was fully bad, but I agree with John McTiernan where his accent is when he was trying to portray Bill Clay didn't come out the best, and there were tight spots for Hans Gruber, but he was always trying to find ways to get out of them, and he used the cops to get what he wanted. The FBI, the FBI actually, when Theo's about to get into the vault, and there's a third security area in the vault, and Theo can't break it. The FBI actually shut down power to the whole block. The FBI's thinking they're gonna make the terrorists panic, and they'll come in. There's actually a part where Hans is actually he thinks because it was I think it was Fritz. I think Fritz was there with Hans, and there was another guy. I forget what his name was, but he was the guy posing as the security downstairs at Nakatomi Plaza if there was a problem. Plus, there was also there was Hans, and what happens is John knocks out Fritz. Fritz is one of the few survivors besides Theo, who also gets knocked out by Argyle, and there was the one guy posing as security, and there was Hans. And John McClane, was at odds here, wondering what he should do. And you have, Hans getting ready to shoot John McClane, being outnumbered. John has his head behind his head, thinking he has his hands up, as he's in an arrest or surrender pose. And Hans Gruber goes, "What was the thing you said to me?" "Oh yes, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker." And it's funny just hearing how Alan Rickman said that, but John starts laughing and they all start laughing. As soon as Hans is about to take the shot, John McClane had his gun taped to his back with some Christmas tape, and he rips that off and shoots, Hans. I think he shot Hans Gruber in the chest or in the shoulder, but somewhere it was this side, somewhere within this area, because I don't think he shot him in the heart. I think he shot him right here, so collarbone, shoulder / area. So he starts to go down and in through a window. John McClane shoots the other guy in the head. He goes down and is dead. And all of a sudden, Hans Gruber takes Holly with him, and as he goes out the window, Holly's trying not to fall out the window. Hans Gruber's hanging there. Holly's watch is caught on Hans Gruber, and you have John McClane coming over trying to get Holly's watch detached from herself, and you have Hans who knows he's probably going to die here, but he's like, well, okay, if I'm dying, I'm going to take you with me. So in a classic look, you have Alan Rickman look up and just a little deviously about to shoot John McClane. All of a sudden, the watch gets detached, and then you have Hans Gruber just going like that as he's falling, and it's holy crap, he knew he was screwed. What I didn't know was, John McTiernan says this in the audio commentary again, where that was actual fear from Alan Rickman having that happen, because Um, it wasn't from the actual Fox building they were filming Nakatomi Plaza in, because Nakatomi Plaza was one of the Fox Tower buildings they had in Los Angeles. But what it was on a set where they filmed that, Alan Rickman was hanging 4 stories high. Now, 4 stories is still pretty friggin' high. So, he was still pretty high up. And when, John McClane let go, I mean, there was a crash mat for Alan Rickman to go into, but, John McTiernan said Alan Rickman was still very scared to take that plunge. So that, I mean, I could imagine I'd be flipping frightened because I'm not one for heights, and falling at 4 stories into a crash mat. It'd be exhilarating, but I'd probably be terrified at the same time. And so that was Alan Rickman's heads, and he did a great job in this movie too. So hats off to you, Alan Rickman. May you rest in peace, good sir. You were great as this character, and immortalized, I think, from this movie as well. Probably one of your greatest roles in cinema history, Mr. Rickman. Then you also have Alexander Godunov, who plays Carl, who is Hans Gruber's right-hand henchman. He sort of talks little. He's very cold. He's got this long, really nice blonde hair. He's got a tough exterior, and he's very menacing. And apparently, from what me and a lot of my friends and my family know, is this guy, and I think John McTiernan said, this guy's a former dancer / ballet dancer. And I guess he was also an actor, and they found him to play this role, and he was great as Carl. I mean, what could you say? Like, Carl comes into the movie, just silently starts, killing people, and this guy's an expert. He knows what he's doing. He's very calculating and cold. I forget who his brother is, but he has a little brother for this film, and it's the first guy that John McClane takes down and kills. I think it was Heinrich. Maybe I think his brother's name. His brother was Heinrich, and Heinrich is the first person John McClane kills while they are fighting and both fall down the stairs, and Heinrich breaks his neck on the steps and he's dead. And that's the one where John McClane takes Heinrich's machine gun and he writes on Heinrich's shirt and gives Heinrich the Santa hat saying, "Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho." And, ever since then, Carl is upset. He's angry. He's after John McClane for this entire movie, just dead set on getting him. And, I mean, he's still trying to help Hans Gruber and everything and, go with the plan. But his main focus throughout this film is to kill John McClane for killing his brother. And there's several times where they run into each other. They have a little bit of tiffs and fights. But it's near the end where John McClane's wondering what Hans Gruber needs the detonators for. And he's finding out where the detonators are placed. And they're strategically placed to blow up the building and or the roof. And John McClane is trying to warn the cops and Al specifically, and that's where Carl shows up, takes the walkie from him, and they actually have their long, duped out fight. And, they're fighting with each other and, like, bashing each other, and, Carl's got an upper hand, and John gets the upper hand. It's a great fight scene, very brutal and very, like, just ham-fisted, and I love John McClane's quote as he says that, "I'm gonna kill you like I killed your fucking brother," like saying something like, "I'm gonna kill you, you piece of shit, like I killed your fucking brother," and, like, having all that shit going on. And there's actually a part where, before John McClane saves the hostages, and I have no idea how he survived this, but he basically hangs Carl in chains, and Carl is up there long enough hanging in the chains because he's hanging there for a good 10 minutes. And 10 minutes is probably enough to go, okay, you're hanging there, your feet are not touching the ground, John McClane got you up there good. There's no fucking way you should have survived. You should have survived that, but they probably wanted to give the character of Al a rousing ending because Reginald Val Johnson's character never took out his gun as a cop again because he accidentally shot a kid who had a toy ray gun that looked like a real gun, and he just took a just dust job. Nowadays, they'd have the cop resign and stop being a cop. But hey, I'm not gonna get into that too far. And then finally, we have Bonnie Bedelia, who plays Holly Gennaro or Holly McClane, his estranged wife, who basically moved to Los Angeles because she had a job opportunity. She wanted to have this job. She took the McClane kids with her. John stayed behind in New York because he still had a lot of stuff to take care of in New York, and I think it's because he's also a cop and he likes New York a lot better than Los Angeles. But they basically just have a strange relationship at the beginning of the film. As soon as all stuff goes haywire, Holly's trying to keep everybody calm, everybody together. She's trying to, find out like what's going on and all these great things, that are happening that she can't explain. And she realizes throughout the film that, she doesn't see John McClane. She's like, okay, my husband got away. Things are good. And then she observes throughout the film that, she realizes the terrorists are getting pissed off, upset, just really angry. And she's like, John, only John could be doing this and, doing all the, strange things that are happening and actually, fitting the herd, and she's actually getting happy about this. At the same time, she's, making deals with Hans Gruber to keep people together, to, make small deals with Hans. And, she doesn't want to be near Hans, but she has to interact with him a little bit to help out the friends that she's with in her business because they're all frightened and getting scared. One of the women are, pregnant and everything, and, it scares Hans, but Holly knows what to do and takes charge of it. And it's really a cool scene. When Hans finds out that Holly McClane is John McClane's wife, he basically takes her and treats her as a hostage. And near the end of the film, you have basically when Hans gets the money in the bearer bonds, he's loading it up, and she's like, so after all your grandstanding, after all your posturing, after all that you've done, all you are is just a thief. This has always just been about money. Like, I guess she isn't as shocked, but at the same time, she finds what these men have done, who they've killed, what they've done, what this whole thing has been about. To her, it's pathetic. It's pathetic and stupid. So she has no reaction. But then I guess Hans scares her a little bit because Alan Rickman comes up to her and he says, "Yes, Miss McClane, I am a thief. I am an exceptional thief. So and you should be grateful that I bumped it up to kidnapping. So if I were you, I'd learn to be a little bit more polite." So that sort of scared her, but I actually like how she said that because, she didn't back down from him. A lot of people said, well, Holly McClane doesn't do much in this movie, and it's like, well, yeah, she was in a hostage situation, but her character has a lot of inner and a bit of outer strength. I mean, it works for the film. It's really, really good. I enjoyed it a lot. It fit well with the movie to me. And at the end, when Holly and John's rescued her and they're together, and after Carl was killed by Al, she has this thing where I'll probably mention him too because I actually liked his character a lot too. But she actually sees this reporter who, oh God, what was his name? Richard Thornburg. there's a reporter, Richard Thornburg, who gave it away to the terrorists and who went to Holly and John's family to interview them and mixed things up with the terrorists and screwed up things with them for being mentioned on public national TV that, hey, your parents are being held hostage by terrorists and blah, blah, blah. And she was ticked off by that, so she punches, Richard Thornburg in the face because he was trying to get an interview with them. So she just slugged him right in the face, and he looks at, and so she took him out. And then they get into Argyle's limo to where I guess they're both going home together to the song of "Let It Snow" at the end of the movie. So that was very nice too. Second, guys, I'm gonna get another drink here. I was trying to fit my damn thing up there. Oh yeah. Just a second here. Always. Hold on. Okay. Allergies are not fun, guys. I'll tell you that right now. Let's see here. Oh, yes, and then probably one guy I could mention, because, again, I liked his character throughout the film, even though he was a quote-unquote dick. No pun intended either, because that's the guy's name too, but Dick is an asshole. Well, basically, I'll say asshole. But his name is Richard Dick Thornburg, and he's a reporter. I guess he's trying to get a story, and he was telling his girlfriend or wife at the time that they were supposed to have Christmas Eve dinner, and he was telling her he couldn't get a table, and then he overhears on a radio something going on Nakatomi Plaza, and oh yeah, Richard Thornburg is played by great 80s 90s actor William Atherton, and William Atherton always plays sleazy characters. They always have sleazy natures, and that's basically how it goes about through this movie. And you have it where he's trying to get the big scoop, trying to get the things on Nakatomi Plaza, and he's there throughout the movie, getting a lot of the violence, getting the explosions. He wants to get this whole thing, and he's happy because he's hey, this thing could make me have the Nobel Peace Prize, or, all become famous and get the biggest scoop of the year with this terrorist action. And he actually heads, like I said, to the McQueen household, to where he interviews, the children. He basically forces his way into the home, getting past the maid, threatening her with deportation and stuff like that. I don't know if she really wasn't illegal, but given how she let him in, she probably was. But still, it's just damn, this guy wants this interview so badly. And he's literally interviewing the kids. And both Jack and Susan, or I forget his daughter's name, but I know Jack, or John McClane Jr., and his daughter, John McClane and Holly's daughter, they're both sad in hearing about what's happening to their parents. And the daughter just looks into the camera while Richard Thornburg is if your mommy and daddy could hear this, what would you like to say to them? And it's just pouring salt into the wound, Richard Thornburg. William Atherton is so great at playing sleazy characters, and the daughter just says, come home. And, it's so sad hearing that. But at the end, Richard Thornburg gets his comeuppance, because as he's coming up to the McQueens, he has the camera right in front of their face, and he's like, Mr. and Mrs. McQueen, given what you went through, how are you feeling right now? And then she just whacks him right on the chin, and, she just leaves him behind. And, you have Richard Thornburg going, did you get that? He's so shocked, but he's winded because she just socked him one right in the face. So he flipping deserved it. Richard Thornburg definitely deserved that coming to him. Overall, Die Hard is a great, great movie. It's got tons of action, tons of fun, You can have fun with the villains. You can have fun with John McClane. Lots of things to make you angry, to hate the villains, to enjoy John McClane, to make sure he can pull through this, to hopefully think he has a non-bureaucratic cop on his side, because the deputy police chief, Dwayne Erickson, played by the late great Paul Gleason himself, is a jerk. The FBI aren't helping him, and they're played by Grandel Bush and Robert Davi. They're not helping him. Al and some of the regular street cops are the only ones on his side, and it's just a great film overall. Written by Jeb Stewart and Steven D'Souza, who did a great script based on Roderick Thorpe's book, which I don't think the book was called Die Hard. The book was called something else. I forget what it meant, but I think it had something to do with the high rise they were in, like 80 or 88 feet, but something thousand feet or something. I know it had something to do with the high rise and whatnot, but they wrote a great witty script for this film, produced by Lawrence Gordon and Joel Silver, the great makers of 90s and 80s action films. If you know those guys, were huge in the 80s and 90s. They made action films to this day, but their greatest stuff was in the 80s and 90s. Lawrence Golden, and especially Joel Silver. Joel Silver, you may know, because one of his last recent films that he did that I can remember really well off the top of my head was, in fact, the Matrix trilogy. Joel Silver was a part of that, so that's cool that he was a part of that too. And then, let's see here. I know he's there. Oh yeah, music by Michael Kamen. Great 80s action score by Michael Kamen. Yet again, Michael Kamen was the king of 80s action films during the time. Great score by him. And, John McTiernan, great 80s and 90s director, especially of action films. Probably one of the greatest action directors of an era. Like, he knew how to make action films really well. Like, he did Die Hard 1 and 3, Last Action Hero, Predator. I know there's a couple more I'm missing, but he was involved in a lot of great stuff. So where Richard Donner did all the stuff of other things. I mean, it's like John McTiernan had a great hand in a lot of action films, and I mean, guy's an amazing director, and deserves a lot of credit for this film and the films he did. And he wanted to make a film that he in his mind, he thinks Die Hard is a Christmas movie. You can have it as a Christmas movie. It has all the elements of Christmas. Yeah, it's an action film and there's tons of violence, but it does bring everybody together at the end, and it does give you a feel-good ending. So I agree with him on that. Plus, he was making an action film that wasn't just, mindless action. He wanted there to be a good story. He wanted there to be a great setup, something where you can remember the characters, remember the villains, heroes, and, have it be, synonymous. He didn't think this film would be good, be that big. He wanted the film to be good and to be remembered, but he did not think this film would achieve the great status that it has. Or at least the first whole trilogy of this, has developed a great status. So, I mean, he never expected that, but he's proud that he made a film that everybody remembers really well. And I have to agree, Die Hard is a great film. I give, I'll start with my rating right now, I guess, because I really sort of want to say it. I give Die Hard a 10 out of 10. Great film, great action, great story, great characters, a lot of memorable stuff. I can't hate on it. It's a good movie. In fact, you'll probably get 10s out of 10s for at least the first three, because I thought the first three movies were really good. I enjoyed them a lot. Well, let's get to the other favorite part that I like to do. Let's get to the Rotten Tomatoes. And let's see here. Apparently, the movie is certified fresh by the critics, 94%. And apparently, our score, the audience score is 94% as well. So I agree. Great rating there, Rotten Tomatoes. Great rating indeed. Die Hard is an amazing film. Let's see. Let's see what the critic. blah, blah. Let's see what the critic consensus is. There we go. Blah. Let's see. Critic consensus is its many imitators and sequels have never come close to matching the taut thrills of this definitive holiday action classic. I will agree to that on one part. I love Die Hard. Die Hard is a great film, but Die Hard with a Vengeance is my favorite throughout all the originals. It goes Die Hard with a Vengeance, Die Hard, and Die Hard 2, Die Harder. Probably because Die Hard has the way more memorable moments, but Die Hard 3 was just a fun way to bring the Groovers back into it and, just have fun. Even though it wasn't originally a Die Hard story, but I will go into that again at another time. But I thought it was a great way to just, bring it up. But I admit Die Hard is an excellent movie. I love all three of them equally. If you want my opinion too, I love all three of these films equally. They're really, really good. So, hey. And let's see here. Going on. Let's see. So, I have to say that critic consensus is I'm actually shocked. We actually agreed on something other than the last two films I did with this. Let's see here. Well, Alan Rickman with white hair. I never thought I would saw that like that. Sending a Paul Gleason. Jeez Louise. Sorry about that. They have that casting here. Holy crap. We have a whole bunch of positive ratings here, people. Not a single bad rating. But let's see what they will say in their things. I quote from Rotten Tomatoes critic Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian. It's a glorious scene stealer for Alan Rickman, though it's a credit to Willis's cheeky charisma that his scene is not, in fact, stolen. I guess I see where they're going to that. I wouldn't say Alan Rickman was a scene stealer. I would say Alan Rickman and, I want to say John McClane, but Bruce Willis. Alan Rickman and Bruce Willis, they complemented each other really well in this film when they were apart and when they were together. It was a great villain and a hero, two foils within themselves, the villain's foil and the hero's foil. They complemented each other well. So I get what he's saying, but I thought they complemented each other well. I don't think Alan Rickman was stealing any scenes. I think they complemented it well. Alan Rickman played a great villain. John McClane played a great hero character with a laid-back attitude. So I thought they complemented each other very well. Oh, there's 5 rotten comments. I may click on that just to see. Let's see. Actually, I'll read 5 of them. Here's the second one. Die Hard is film's equivalent. This is from Jay Carr of the Boston Globe, and I quote, Die Hard is film's equivalent of a terrorist attack on your senses, but Willis's intensity and presence push it into guilty pleasure territory. I guess I can agree with that too. I would never put it that way, but I guess I can put it that way. You guys really need to stop thinking in the terms of violence. It's an action movie, for God's sake. More than likely, action films have a degree of violence in them. That's why there's action. Things happening, probably explosions, people getting their heads blown off, sometimes even decapitated, and oh my God, the language and our sensitive ears. So it's like these are These are such PC answers. Oh my god. I hate to say that, but those two answers sound so politically correct. Uh, there are good perform. Oh, sorry. This is from Chris Chase, the New York Daily News, and I quote: "There are good performances from everyone in this long, often funny, very violent but exciting melodrama." It is a bit melodramatic, yes, and it is a very fun film. I can agree with that, Chris Chase. But again, it just, oh boy, I would never put things this way. Boy, let's see. Oh, here is the best one right here, guys. I looked at number 4 out of all these top critics. Here is number 4. From Martin Chilton of the Daily Telegraph. And I quote, "Yippee-ki-yay, action fans." Well said. That's a way to put how you like this film. Yippee-ki-yay, action fans. Here's a guy who liked a movie who doesn't sound PC. Woohoo! I mean, sorry, you first 3 were great too, but my God, it's like you had to almost like say, how do we say this without sounding violent ourselves? Oh God, the inhumanity. Oh boy, let's see here. Hopefully this doesn't sound too bad because I know this gentleman. Not personally, but I've read a lot of his reviews. But this is from Peter Travers of People Magazine. He usually does a lot of ratings on films. And he quotes, "Willis gleefully strips down the action movie to a pretend game for children who like to fire guns and shoot bad guys. Machismo may never be the same." Interesting analogy, but I believe I can agree with that. I mean, yeah, because Die Hard has a really good story to it, but the whole movie has a very fun premise. It's like toys for adults. I will definitely agree with that. It's like toys for adults. It definitely has that feel, and I would agree. So, okay, well done, Peter Travers. Not like your other 3 predecessors at the top, who seem to want to spew political correctness into things. But hey, I mean, again, I don't mind it, but come on, guys. Who talks like that? Who talks like that? Oh, wait, yeah, I want to actually go back. Before I end this, I want to, because here's the funny thing. So far, 77 critics have commented on this movie, and there's 72 fresh. There are 5 rotten. Let's just take a quick look at one of the rotten ones, and looks like nobody's given a rotten thing on this since 2013. So that's a good thing because a lot of the recent reviews on this thing were as late as 2018. So nothing from the last couple of years, but I mean, these are still pretty, again, fairly recent. So let's see here. Let's see. This is from a Kevin Thomas of the Los Angeles Times. Why am I not shocked? Los Angeles Times. Let's see. And he quotes, "As a grand flourish of cinematic technique, it is awesome. As a human drama, it is disgusting and silly. A mindless depiction of carnage on an epic scale." Yeah, you just focused on the violence. And you think the human drama is disgusting and... Because, how realistically, terrorists would not be that... Because the terrorism in all these movies has a little bit, not completely, but there's a little bit of humanity in the terrorists. Usually terrorists we don't see in real life have that much humanity as they sort of have in these films. Or they don't go sometimes to these elaborate lengths. They could, but most of the time they don't. I mean, I get, Jeezy Christ, yay. Violence, you guys, all of that flipping time, my God. Oy. Never gets old with you folks, huh? Let's see. Whoops, wrong thing here. Well, that is my review of Die Hard, guys. So, what did you think? Do you like this film? Do you like what this film's about? I mean, do you enjoy it for the effects and action? Oh yeah, and one thing that watching this film recently on Christmas Eve with two of my best friends, I discovered how I miss practical blood and I miss a lot of practical effects. A lot of the stuff now is CGI'd in certain things and stuff like that. So, like with the John Wick films or a couple other things like that, if you can do practical effects in films, love it. Like, this film made me realize that, yeah, I mean, it's an artistry that's almost lost. And I do miss blood squibs and things like that, too. Like it makes you have a good feeling for stuff that's there. And I absolutely love it. And, hey, if it's gory, hey, I mean, there's worse films like Hello Soft Franchise or Hello Hostel or all that crap. But, it's like, hey, but, I mean, what do you think of this film? Is this one you would give a 10 out of 10 to, like me? I mean, I'm probably gushing over these Die Hard films. I love the Die Hard series, but, again, what do you guys think? Is it something you like? Just mention it in the comments below. Let me know what you think, how good it is or how bad it is, or do you not care what this stupid nerd has to say and I'm just drowning on, and look at me in my, nerdy, Dragon Ball 20th anniversary shirt. Because, hey, look, I'm a nerd. And I know I'm one of those guys that don't have a lot of my collection behind me, but you can probably somewhat tell that looks like this is a house of a nerd and how I've interviewed the things so far. I have like a lot of things good and bad, but hey, I drone on again. So, just let me know what you think and, just give me a rundown and hey. And, as always, this is 012 Boku coming at you with another movie review. Deuces, guys and girls. And also, remember, fuck Joe Biden and fuck the establishment.